You're watching the Matt to Matt Show, where we talk about... Excuse me.
Exactly 15 seconds, we'll be on the air.
Where we talk about everything that's important to you. From science and technology to pop culture and social commentary. Featuring your hosts Right Matt, Left Matt, and the disembodied voice of Joe. This is where the conversation begins. Now let's have a chat. Matt to Matt. I say shush as we go live. Hey everybody, welcome to the show. So nice to have you with us. I am your host, Right Matt. Joining me as usual is your host, Left Matt.
Yo. Good to see you.
And as always, in his posh library with many leather-bound books and a sailboat. Oh, I haven't seen that one before. Is that new? I don't think that's new.
I remember it.
The
from before.
disembodied voice of Joe.
Good evening.
Here on the show, we try to approach all of our topics with as much objectivism,
Objectivity.
thank you, as possible.
As logically as possible.
To that end, this chamber has been acoustically treated to reduce echoes by up to 92%. Actual results may vary, but as a backup, we do have the chat on the screen so that you can point out if we are not viewing it from as many angles as you might be from your lofty position in the chat box. So if we're not, let us know, and that will help round out our conversation. Now let's have a chat Matt to Matt.
I like how
forgetting
up
say that.
to 92% includes 0.
Hey,
That's a
hey,
maximizing.
if you're going to give a guarantee, just, keep it reasonable.
Include everything. Save up to from 0 up to 50% or more.
It's like-
That's
it's like those
up
te-
to or more.
It's like those Steam sales that are like, this publisher's whole library up to 75% off. And it's like, yeah, that dollar game is now 25 cents. But yeah, Witcher 3, it's $10 off. Calm down.
You could be
yeah.
a marketing major yet.
Sounds like it. Thanks, Bigger Hero. Thanks for keeping it classy in the chat.
My sound sounds like crap. It's like really
Your
crap.
sound is like crap.
Sorry,
It's-
your sound in my ear. Mostly the things you...
when I
no,
talk-
it was like crackling. I mean,
mostly
not
the
just
thing-
you specifically.
The things you
everybody.
say
Yeah,
sound
that's
so
the joke I
bad
was making.
in my ear. That's new. I forgot that was on screen.
It's been on there for about that many grains of
And it's
sand.
it's gone now.
Oh. This one's
It won't
solution.
bother anybody. Tonight we have an interesting show. If you didn't read the description, there is a link in there to a political bias test that we're going to be taking. It's completely objective. It was made by
By a person with no biases.
a person
Sorry,
with no
a
biases.
robot with
well,
no that
they
was programmed by a
created the
person
test,
with no biases.
and then they
I don't
made the
know.
test, and then they recreated the test based on the results they got from the test, because then they knew their bias and they could combat it. So we're going to be taking that. We encourage you to take it along with us. We're going to be going through, and we're just going to see between the three of us, and of course you as well, how different our our biases, our opinions are. Because last week we had a very spirited debate on a really good topic, and I thought this would be a great time to actually look at how different our points of view are and why and how. Nice to see Constantine. Nice to have you back. I think he wasn't here last week, was he? No.
We missed his. We
We-
noticed his absence.
Yeah, we missed your Musk. Yeah,
You
how
said
are we-
they redid the test.
No, I
after
was
the
kidding.
first time? Oh,
I was kidding.
I was gonna ask you, like, did they redo it again to like get the
Oh yeah,
redone bias?
it's like when you keep washing clothes and they shrink a little more. It's reduced, and so after a while, it's to a percent that's you can't really tell. But yeah, let's. All right,
We're starting.
I'm gonna.
with is the,
We're gonna get that in a sec. I know Joe has some fun stuff he wants to share.
I don't even know what to do first.
He's giddy. All right, if you want to full screen
Well,
that too, just like F11 it. So
Oh,
you're
I got you.
nobody wants to see your favorites, Joe.
Then I can't. The toolbar disappears. When
Disappear.
It
It disappear.
The toolbar disappears when I do that.
Right?
All right. What? Okay. Well, how about this? I got a.
How about that?
Where's the? Let me full screen this.
Do that. Whoa! I've got you're up, you're up, bruh.
Oh, I'm up.
Yeah.
Okay,
Not anymore.
well, we'll just leave it like that. Scary image warning.
Scary image warning. There you go. In case those of you with faint heart.
So yeah, Halloween is coming up. This I actually saw this picture before, and don't show it yet.
Hold on. Bop. No!
Oh, too late.
Come on, man. That's why you have a monitor. Okay. All right. You were saying, sir.
Oh, I was just saying. I saw this picture before, like just somewhere. And I was like, oh, what a stupid fake thing. This is actually a real bug. It's a moth.
Is that a bug though?
Well,
Because that looks like
we call. Yeah.
it looks like it spends half of its time or half of its body in the water. It's like half starfish, half moth. So like it spends its time in puddles, trying to fly away and trying to swim at the same time.
It also looks like a parasite was like infesting it. But this is actually this
Oh,
is a
don't say
real
that.
this is
Don't
a
say
real
that.
thing that is not a parasite. It's there. It doesn't normally look like this, but
Nothing
it's
normally looks
like
like that.
it's like a
Organism.
Those are like organs. They're like that spread pheromones. Yeah, it's
That's a super sexy moth. Is what you're saying.
It's not particularly special about its like. It's not a particularly special example of its species, but yeah.
Why aren't they bright orange and spotted like
It doesn't look it
peacock
would fly
feathers?
very well. Looks like pretty bottom heavy, you know.
I guess they're pheromones, so it's like look at my back
Those actually
and
deflate.
smell my phalanges. What?
Those actually deflate. They're
Oh.
not. Yeah. Yeah. Weird. Moth with tentacles.
That is
Happy Halloween, everybody.
that is an understatement. Where are we? Come on.
What does it use them for?
Oh,
To put food in its mouth?
no,
other
it's actually
pheromones.
for probably
It-
for attracting.
Oh, can we
a
see it
mate.
walk?
I don't think it walks, man.
What? Why
Hold
wouldn't
on,
it walk?
hold on.
Wow, those.
You're not on
I thought
screen.
it would move so much more.
No,
so
it's like
freaky.
It's like a peacock. It's like yo,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I was thinking. Like, I mean, I think pheromones. I think
waving with four fingers.
attracting a mate.
Yeah.
wow, that is creepy.
What does it look like? Got put on there?
Yeah. It says,
Like it
as
looks like something
for-
was like transplanted on there.
I'm
What
telling you,
kind
it
of
looks
other-
like a starfish was just like whoa, like they went through a transporter together,
Oh,
and
yeah.
the back end of the moth is on the face of a starfish, which has they have faces, by the way.
Right.
they don't.
Right.
Yeah. Tips emit pheromones. they quoted somebody. Beautiful. One person wrote. Still, many
Why?
people expressed a more common sentiment. I'm now also scared of moths.
Yeah, Ugh. That's like Alien got a hold of a moth. That's freaky, creepy. Yeah. So, speaking of things that are fake, did you find that long toes lady?
Yes, I did.
Did
That wasn't fake, by the way.
well, it wasn't?
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
All right. Because I mean, it's not her fault, but I'm gonna throw her under the bus a little bit. My wife got tricked by some fake news this week that really freaked me out. It was in like Kentucky or something. A guy who worked at a haunted house brought a real chainsaw and chopped up like 19 people before they realized he was actually killing people. Turned out to be fake news, but for like a day I was like freaked. I'm never going to haunted house again. And then somebody was like, "Yeah, that's fake news." So, thank you for. I mean, I'll still be a little creeped out.
Was
but-
it only 13 people? Yeah, I think I was like, they're greatly
No one
exaggerating
actually
the damage.
died. It's just next year they'll have to go through in a wheelchair. I apologize. I am a little under the weather tonight, but we are here all the same. So I don't have a cough button set up, so you're just going to have to deal with it. How about that hoodie? Goodness. I should chroma color your body out because it's like so solid.
It's not nearly as bright.
It's like a green screen, but orange. Let's see. Just by the way, I forgot to say this. We're actually streaming on Facebook for the first time tonight. We are. You know what? I'm gonna link the Facebook page in the chat because I would like people to. Oh wait, I don't have that up. One second, because I'd like people to actually follow us there as well because more people have. Okay, I am on that one. More people have Facebook. I've had a lot of people say, "Hey, I watched your show," and I'm like, "You should come in and comment in the chat." And they're like, "Well, I don't have YouTube." Don't ask who I was talking to. They don't have YouTube accounts, so they cannot comment. So we're streaming on Facebook. So that's hopefully going well. I'm not monitoring that at all. So
Is there like a separate chat that goes along with it?
there is. You can comment under that, but like I said, we're trying to get it up there this week, and we'll try paying attention to it next time. Oh, good. It is house.
Sorry, now they're voiceless.
Right
You
now
only
they
watch
are
it to
voiceless.
one
I mean,
way.
it's got 3 views and 0 comments, so it doesn't matter. You guys who are actually in our comment section, thank you for being where you should be, and who you are. Thank you for being who you are.
I don't know who John Gacy is.
Google it.
That's
We've got
right.
like 9 computers in this room.
Right.
Find one.
Nice.
Google it. What's that?
No, I was just gonna say, speaking of computers, how about that Silicon Lottery?
Oh yeah. So,
I never heard about that.
oof. Let me grab that because that's something else. I'm proud of this. I have a.
Ugh.
I upgraded my computer last year so that I could get a VR headset, and in the process, I ended up with a bunch of extra older components without a CPU. And so I had this other computer just sitting around, and this is interesting, I promise. So for those of you who do not actually build your own computers. So let's see, Celery. Here we go. So I got the cheapest processor you can. It was $40. It's an Intel Celeron 2-core, dual-core 2-thread. It's not. What happened there? Why is that not straightened out? Nothing. It's just. It's sitting sideways on the screen. It's crooked, so ignore that. But I ran it through. I put it in my computer, and I overclocked it because I learned you can overclock it, which is when you pretty much just like put it in 3rd gear and rev the engine constantly. So it's blasting at full speed. And I ran it through the VR tester to see if it'll run in VR, and it will. The cheapest processor says it will run in VR, which is amazing. But that's because I got this. Here we go. Here's my stats. I posted this on Facebook, and no one believes me. This is real. So if you look right, oh, you can't see my cursor. I don't share cursor.
I believe you.
I believe you. I believe you. Thank you. If you look at the circle, that's the actual speed it's running at. It's supposed to run at 2.8 gigahertz. I overclocked it to 4.2. So, by the way, in case you're curious, supposedly you can game VR on a $40 processor as opposed to a $350 processor. Just saying, if you're interested, try it. And that's real. Ben, if you're watching, he was like, that's a reading error. I'm like, no, dude, I was getting 100 frames a second in a VR program. Look at that. My old graphics cards. Crap. So it's average quality out of 10.6. So I'm going to try that with my... I actually overclocked the GPU. If I can pull quality frames enough to run a VR game out of that crappy old system, I'm going to like start shouting everywhere. You don't have to spend $1,000 to do VR. Just overclock.
Well, you have to be lucky too.
Yeah, lucky.
Most people cannot.
That's what I'm saying. Most people can't do that. I just happen to have the right motherboard and happen to get the right processor model and I guess the right actual one. So, YouTube comment section privilege says bigger hero. Yes, you guys are. It's like this is like our version of Patreon supporters. It's like YouTube is super chat. So we read all your comments because you guys are not the plebes who are.
I don't know what a plebe is.
It's the right way to say pleb. If you're not a plebe, you'd know that.
Really.
Whoa! I thought this was the other story of the lady who was not rescued at sea, but then washed up on the shore that we talked about a couple weeks ago. This is different.
This one is less
This is
horrific.
less
This
horrific.
is a happy ending. Yeah.
How did it end?
I guess we'll just jump into it.
Yeah.
We'll dive in. No,
No pun intended.
yeah.
no.
Actually, they were these 2 ladies were out at sea since I think May-ish. Yeah, May 3rd. And a series of unfortunate events happened. Their phone got washed overboard. Their engine got disabled. Their radio was broke. Like a whole bunch of things went wrong. However, they were prepared. They had water filters and a year's supply worth of food on their boat.
A year's supply worth of
A
food on their
year's
boat.
supply.
They saw Castaway too many times, or enough
Yeah,
times.
but they've been adrift until like yesterday. Yeah, that's pretty incredible. Yeah, I mean it's mostly cheap dry foods like oatmeal, pasta, rice. Yeah,
So that what were
and-
they taking? Like
and they
they were just
survived.
taking seawater and making pasta.
They were
You don't need to add any salt.
I was gonna say that.
well.
It was implied,
You
yeah,
have to remove some salt
and some other stuff.
Yeah, some
Yeah.
fish
Yeah.
poo.
Yeah,
all thinking
yeah,
That was,
yeah, a whole
yeah,
bunch
we
of
were all
problems.
thinking
Antenna, motor failed, rigging on the mast broke. They were trying to visit their daughter in Hawaii, and they ended
Yeah.
up near Japan.
Where they leave from? That's like
I
some
think
Christopher
they
Columbus stuff. They're like, I
said-
thought Hawaiians were like a little darker and wore grass skirts. What's with all the Nokia phones here?
well, they where
don't
did
think
they
they-
leave from?
You got to zoom those
I think
in, by the
I
way.
think they said
Even the
Tahiti.
pictures are a bit small.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah, no.
Oh man.
Dang.
It makes me think about like what is a year's worth of food? 0 if you capsize, right?
You're not talking straight into your mic. That's the reason.
I can't hear myself.
It's right here.
It doesn't say. I don't see where they left from, but
Try that.
Much
it,
better.
It was not
There he
supposed to
is.
be a 5-month ordeal. It's supposed to be like a couple weeks. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
but hey, you plan for the worst, and then it happens. Bigger hero. What are patricians? Are they like patriarchs?
The patricians.
What are patricians?
That's a class of. This is from history.
The new patricians are here. I don't know.
Plebs,
It might.
I'm
be,
gonna
it
assume-
might be like the
patricians.
counter. Yeah, patricians and plebs.
plebeians, and patricians.
Plebeians.
They're not. Oh. Okay.
I don't remember anything about them though. I just remember the word.
Yes, the plebs. Nice.
Speaking of salt water, did you know China has rice that can grow in salt water now?
What?
Yeah, I did see that. You shared that on
Salt
Facebook.
resistant.
Can they just? Does it grow on the surface of the water like a lily pad? Because if so, they could just like literally just grow it out to sea, and it just grows out. forever. Of all things,
Don't
of all
know
things
if
they
it
learn how to
grows
grow.
in,
But
like
Let's
the
let-
thing they're most interested in learning how to grow, right?
Why would you say they're most interested in rice, dude? It's racist. What do you
That's a
think?
big. Rice is a big staple in China. I don't
Really?
think-
You mean
I
it's
don't- I don't
not just
think-
a stereotype?
I don't think that's racist. Or
Wow. Do they also use
stereotypical.
chopsticks for real, or is that just made up as well? No. Okay.
Yeah.
Guys on a rip.
Well, I have the article here, but
Plebeian.
It's plebeian or plebeian. We looked it up. It's
I
either
just
or.
looked it up just now.
Yeah, Google
The
says
word
so.
for the day is mistaken. What?
It's a sequel to Taken. Mistaken.
yeah, I think they grow it. I mean, they use salt water to grow it. Like it's.
Oh, they don't, like, grow it in the
they
ocean?
Flood the field. Yeah, I don't think it grows on top.
Gotcha.
of
They just
oceans.
water it with.
Yeah, they said it was diluted.
So.
Seawater was diluted, so it wasn't really. So maybe you can like handle just
They
more
just like
salt than
sprinkle. They
average?
just like sprinkled a bit in there. They cut it.
It's
Yeah,
it's
well, yeah,
enough.
that's what I was saying.
It's like
enough.
people who put.
diluted.
It's like people who put flour in cocaine to just like thin it out, so they can sell 2 pounds of cocaine.
I think
for-
it's enough to.
I don't know. I just
that they
heard.
don't have to use pesticides.
pesticide.
They do know pests grow in the ocean, like with the salt water all the
It's-
time, right?
They're not.
I guess if they're not, I
pests.
guess
Rice.
if they're not in the salt water when they put it on the plants, they're not just gonna like crawl from the ocean to find the salt water that's on the rice. Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
They said this would feed more than 200 million people. So
Hey,
that's-
Eckerd, welcome.
That's great.
I was wondering who we were missing. 3-hour tour, yes. Rich people. Cool.
Decreasing pesticides is always a good thing.
The overpopulation hype. Do you mean the hype of the problem of overpopulation, or you're saying people are too hyped about overpopulating the Earth? Not till we hit 10 billion. Then we talk overpopulation. Have you ever been to Wyoming? There's a lot of space for people in Wyoming. We're so clustered. That's the thing
No,
about
I
like
don't think it's
overpopulation.
amount of personal space.
They say fresh water. These people were stuck
Yeah.
at sea for a year. What were they doing? They were drinking salt water. Like, come on, we can't purify rain enough? I don't know. I go back to my, if we have oil pipelines all over the U.S. If you've ever seen a map of the oil pipelines that we have running everywhere, Google that, Joe.
A map
of the U.S.
yeah,
oil pipelines.
I've
Why don't
seen
we have
that.
pipelines that pump water to dry places for droughts? Like, we know where those places
we
are.
We do have pipelines.
Then why are there ever droughts?
Aquifers are limited.
Then why are there ever droughts? No, pump the ocean water from
Ocean water.
The ocean water. You can put out a fire with ocean water, and apparently you can grow rice too. I'm talking about like forest fires. I'm talking because like they'll just run and they're like, well, we don't have any water. What do you want us to do?
I think distance is a problem with pumping.
We can pump oil pretty far, but I'm just saying. You'd think there'd be some kind of solution to that. I'm obviously the first person to think of it. Nobody's ever tried it
I was
before.
gonna say, if nobody
Obviously.
consulted you,
Yeah.
I can't believe
If
it.
they'd only ask. I'm gonna be that guy at the. Did we play that clip of the really sad, cringy people at the Elon Musk conference?
Yes, we did. Yes, but like, what about pooing in space? Wasn't that one of the questions? Something like that.
Yes.
Something nonsense. Like, of course we thought of this. You know.
Yeah. I'm sure we also considered
where is-
throwing Shia LaBeouf into space, which was also brought up.
Michael
Yeah,
Cera,
Is it?
the least valuable human. Michael
It's funny
Cera?
for
Is
some
that- I thought that
reason.
was him.
For some reason, I just translated that to Shia LaBeouf. You did say him, right?
There
Because we
are-
all know he's the least.
There are
No,
better
it's-
and worse translations.
It's so he can take. It's so he can take the "He Will Not Divide Us" flag to Mars and plant it and be like, "Find it now, 4chan!" For crying out loud, they would. They would. SpaceX would just overshoot the moon and go straight there.
I don't know. I found a dubious map.
A dubious map.
Looks pretty.
I think it also
Republican.
includes gas pipelines too.
Tisk tisk.
But
What is that one
I
going to
guess there's-
Florida? That's neat.
Still prove your point.
I think
What?
that there's the yeah, it's
Really?
going like from Louisiana to
Yeah,
Florida.
I'm just saying we move things around a lot. It's obviously it's more intricate than that, but it just seems weird that we can get lots
Man.
of stuff everywhere. Are any of those water related?
What are those two like spots? There's like a spot in Oklahoma. And a
It's a
spot in
pipeline. It goes like
Kansas right
50
away.
feet from like a well, like an oil derrick
Okay,
to
I just
a gas
thought of
station,
something.
a refinery.
There may be a problem with the quality of water over transporting over large, like the whole lead in what was that city's name?
Flint,
Flint. Yes,
Michigan.
lead is very very difficult to remove from water.
Is it? But it's
Yeah.
heavier.
Your
right?
Is
So you
it?
could just
Your
let it
wa-
sit.
Your water
But, like-
filter does not.
but, like,
remove
is it-
lead.
Not a challenge. Sorry, but
So-
I'm just disappointed that it doesn't just sort itself out. Yeah, where is the Keystone Pipe? Isn't it in South Dakota? I don't see anything in South Dakota.
Yeah, it's like somewhere in this
Yeah,
veiny network.
I've mentioned that before. That Israel's
look veiny.
desalination, they get a majority of their. It's probably like 51%, but they get a majority of their fresh water from desalination. And I brought that up to somebody, and they were like, "Yeah, but that sounds expensive." And I'm like, "So are
Desalination is
forest
expensive.
fires, and
If you ever
so are
played
droughts."
SimCity,
I mean, come on.
you ever played
If you've ever
SimCity,
played SimCity.
you know desalination plants are very very
Hey,
expensive.
hey, Constantine, you've played what is it like political leader simulator or something? Did you ever have to deal with desalination, and was it expensive on that video game? Since that's our basis for
You know, the president can
Scientific
start a war for 2
research.
weeks because I heard it in a
Joe
show.
Joe
once.
Pesci said that. You can wage war for 2 weeks. Not start a war. You can bomb them for 2 weeks without consulting.
Well, if Joe Pesci
Congress.
says so.
Yeah. Whatever. Sweet. All right. Well, seeing as how it's about half past, unless you had something else that was creepy
Creepy.
that you wanted to bring out.
Tentacles grow moth.
China's cutting down their factory pollution by like 40%, something huge.
Awesome.
Really? Are they doing that the same way like Volkswagen was cutting down their pollution for the Jettas?
I don't know
Where they
how
would
were
lift
doing
the
that.
back end to check for the.
That's
They would
brilliant.
did you
That's
guys hear about that?
brilliant. Yeah,
Jetta
I
was
did.
I
Jetta
didn't
was
hear about
faking their
Volkswagen makes Jetta.
Volkswagen. Oh, I kept saying Jetta.
I don't know. Michael
No.
Cera, Shia LaBeouf,
Volkswagen.
same thing.
I know, same thing. Volkswagen was faking their emissions tests by setting. They put like a little gyroscope in there so that when you lift the car, which is part of the process of checking the emissions because you run the car, so they lift the back wheels off. So when you lift it, the car goes, "Oh, everybody run everything on really efficient mode for just a minute," and then when they were done, they went back to bad pollution. It's like the restaurants that know the inspector is coming, so they hide all like the rat traps and everything.
And the bleach.
You,
And the
you guys
bleach.
don't have any rat traps? What if you get rats?
You put you put rat traps down when you know there are rats.
Right.
I mean, just in case a rat pops up. We want a dead rat lying on the floor.
That's good.
Rat poison. I don't know.
Anyway,
Moldy
this
fish.
This is not necessarily a carbon dioxide only
Is
thing.
carbon
This
di-
is a particulates in the air, like the other kind of pollute, like the stuff that's physically bad for us.
Oh yeah. The stuff that makes. Oh,
Yeah.
what the heck?
Is carbon
Smog.
dioxide a pollutant?
What do you consider a pollutant?
Do you think carbon dioxide is a pollutant?
What do I consider?
I'm not
What
gonna-
do I
not
think?
sure. I'm
that
asking
you,
Depends on what you're putting it in.
The air,
what
for
do
the air.
You think?
Oh, for the air.
What do you mean the air? Like,
Never
does it-
mind. I don't want to
does
know.
it pollute the air?
Don't care. I'm not interested in your opinion on
Oh,
that
okay.
anymore.
All right.
Yeah, gotta ask more specific question for that.
Yeah, my bad. I'll work on that.
Crazy kid. All right, so those of you who are just joining us, we put a link in the description. We're going to be doing this. We're going to be going over this political. It's from clearthinking.org, I believe. If you could slide your laptop forward a bit or just tip the screen back,
There you go.
that works too. We're going to be doing this this political bias test, which, wow, you can't see that on the screen. I love this. Select the answer that best matches how you feel.
And remember to be honest for posterity's sake.
Yes. So be honest. All right. So we're each going to answer. You guys need to bring this up too and do it yourself so you get
Oh,
your
we're
own
getting 3
scores.
different results.
Yes, we're getting 3 different results.
Oh, my
I was thinking we could do like, here's what the show's bias is overall, but there's yes and no questions, I'm sure, and that would get confusing. So what we're going to do is we're each going to individually do it. You can do it too. And that way we will confirm what our biases are so that we can actively battle against them. We all need to watch more Young Turks, I'm sure. You need to know how the other half lives.
How do I get the link?
It's in the description of the... It should be in the description of the event.
Oh, that description.
The video description of the video.
Programs.clearthinking.org.
I hope so. That's the one I put up there. You let me know if that works. All right, so this is the first question. It does say something before this. It's like a warning. Don't take this if you feel depressed or if you've been watching BuzzFeed. Which of the following... Yeah, we're gonna... All right, so like I said, make sure... Okay, you do have this up. Excellent. Which of the following best describes your views on economic issues? Strong conservative, lean liberal, strong liberal.
There's no option for libertarian or communist.
This is a weird question.
Oh.
Because I think a lot of people will answer differently but feel the same. Like if you bring it down to individual economic issues, it's probably going to go with that later. I haven't done this. I don't know how this goes. But it might say, oh, I'm strong conservative. And then it's like, actually, you're not. Sploosh. Strong conservative, lean conservative. On economic issues, I would consider myself strong conservative if I'm reading right the way they're doing it.
You see Eckerd's comment?
No, what did he say? What?
I'll let you read it.
Why is my chat's all out of whack? So you
You
can't see the most recent one on the show.
Eckerd says, do they have fat and lethargic libertarian?
Hey.
Maybe we'll have to see how it comes
I
out.
don't know. I kind of expected...
Fat and lethargic.
I guess my expectation coming into this quiz is that it would tell me the answer to this question.
Yeah, like I'm saying, hopefully later it'll be like, let's pin you down on specific issues, and then we'll tell you how wrong you are about how conservative or liberal you actually are.
I'll just be conservative and say lean conservative.
Why? Very, very funny. Or you could just be liberal and be like strong liberal with your answers. All right, so you economic issues.
Oh, I'm way ahead of you.
Strong.
You want me to we're
What
doing
do you-
all
what do
these answers out loud for me.
We have to discuss why we are what we are. Come on, man. Go back. Come on. We're taking this together.
Okay. All right.
I'm strong conservative on social issues as well. I've answered strong conservative to both.
Man, this
I guess
is like
I didn't-
bearing my soul.
I guess
on the
that's
internet.
the point.
I'm not sure I'm comfortable
We
with
are
that.
confirming what our biases are.
I may or may not have answered
Um,
one of these 4.
That's just
You bear your soul. I'll do
that
not-
is that's the idea, so that people know what it is they're getting. Joe,
What?
right.
those first
Okay. All right. Well, if we're gonna do economic, I did strong conservative,
yeah, okay.
and then on social, strong conservative.
See, I'm not 100% sure what your answers will be.
All
So
right, there we
this
go.
is
I don't know what
interesting
my
for me.
answer
Here
is
goes,
for
here
goes.
number 2. So
Number 2.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, it's how you feel. It's about how you feel. So which one of those feels right to you?
none of them.
This is. Why isn't there a middle? There's no middle. You have to pick sides. Way to go, clear thinking. Pick a side. Can I select multiples? No.
It's even a .org.
Regulations and taxes intended to protect the environment.
I put strongly against.
Strongly against? I would say moderate. See, moderately against. Regulations and taxes. I don't specifically believe that the regulations and taxes are as effective as other kinds of incentives, such as people being smart. It's like who said it? Schumer. Chuck Schumer said, "Look,
Amy Schumer?
if you're going to get out of the Paris Climate Accord, we don't need your climate accord. We are just going to make our businesses green anyway." And it's like, yes,
them in California did
yes, you don't need these laws to tell you how to run your business. If you want to go green. You could no one's stopping you.
Yeah, there you go. That's,
I'd say that there's certain free resources that businesses can get greedy on and pollute,
Well, that's different.
and you have to charge them.
People getting greedy on is different than people going, well, no one's going to go green. No one's going to go green unless we make them. I don't think you have to make them. So that's why.
which free resources?
Water, air. Those
Which
are two that
water
come
is
to
free
mind.
though? Isn't it like
The
distributed?
ocean, people just
The
dump stuff
ocean.
in the ocean.
Right.
People just put whatever they want in the air.
Yeah. But I mean, rivers are
unless they
different
have
than that, right?
laws. Rivers?
I thought
rivers
so.
too.
Rivers have like
You ever seen the Delaware River?
I live next to it. Yeah.
The Beggar Hero says feels get the bullet
It
too.
used
Funny.
to be-
Funny.
The Delaware River used to be clear. I wasn't alive then. But
It used to be
I've-
clear.
I've had
No
it
river is
described to me.
clear.
Yeah, it was.
No.
You,
I
you
disbelieve
could
you.
swim in there and see your feet at the bottom.
The Delaware River. How tall? How shallow was the Delaware River?
The part that people swim in and look at their feet was.
I thought
pretty
you meant like
shallow.
you can see the bottom from the top of the Delaware Memorial Bridge.
No,
like
I said
that
you can
clear.
swim in there and see your feet.
Yes, but before that you said it was clear, and I didn't know how clear you meant. Like those pictures of a
Like,
Hawaiian vacation where you can
not-
see like the
not
ripples in the
opaque.
white sand under the blue. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, I mean, probably wasn't that much different from something like that.
I believe
it's got dirt.
I believe people will make better decisions because they have to live on this earth too. Not everyone, but a lot of people. And I think we need to have more faith in people to do what's best for the earth that they live on as well. So, what did you put?
How is that working out?
It's working out better than you'd think, right? No.
I like the property rights angle of it, that even resources that we think of as free can be allocated. Like this portion of it is water rights in rivers are a big deal. I don't understand them fully, but portions of the water are assigned to certain people and you're allowed so much. And if somebody infringes on your property rights or
Dumps their trash over the fence. onto your
dumps their trash
property.
in your part of the so-called free resource, the air being included, then you're like, hey, you're hurting my property.
Mm-hmm.
My property is an extension of myself. And then you could use regulation, or you would use existing regulation to say, hey, don't hurt other people's property to defend it. You wouldn't need like a law saying don't do this at all, because another person would have a much more interested investment, like a vested interest in saying, hey, whoa, that, I'm making this up, I don't understand water rights fully, but like, hey, that 50-mile stretch of river was hurt, and I used that 50-mile river because I bought the rights to that 50-mile stretch. So I like the property property rights angle of it more.
Gotcha.
That sounds nice.
Next question. Policies that would increase immigration to the United States.
So I don't like immigration just for immigration's sake. So
Are
I
we
said,
talking legal immigration?
oh, that's an interesting
Because
spin
I
on
know
the
some
question.
policies that would increase illegal immigration to the United States. I'm strongly against.
Right. Well, I mean, if the policies encourage it, then it's not illegal, right?
No.
So
You can not build a wall, still make it illegal to cross, but it would increase illegal immigration. Unintentionally or not, it would increase illegal immigration.
I think we have to
not
assume that this is
building
legal.
I would assume. I
think so.
know. I was
think
being
so.
a tad facetious.
So
I actually saw. This is related. I saw an interview on YouTube today of Colbert interviewing on his show Donald Trump talking about the wall and being like, "Why are you building a wall?" And everybody in the audience went, "Yay!" And Trump was like, "See, even your crowd likes the idea of a wall. You know, we can stop like drugs from coming over the border." And Stephen Colbert went, "Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good." And then like they moved on to another topic, and I'm like, "What the heck?" I looked at it was 2015. So back in 2015, Colbert and his audience were like, "Yeah, wall, that's fine." Interesting. Very
that
interesting.
is very interesting.
Yeah. And
Jonathan,
then-
there was something.
And then There were like 90 videos of him being like, "A wall, you say?" from the last 4 months. Anyway, policies that would increase immigration in the United States. If we're talking legal, I'm in favor with increasing legal immigration to the United States, because if somebody's going to come here legally, I have no problem with that. I don't know why.
Well, you have
anyone would
to
a problem
put
with
limits on how many people can come in at a time.
that. Yeah. Oh, well, that depends on how it's set right now.
So
I if I knew what the numbers
Yeah.
were, I might be in favor of it. Let me go back. You know what? I'm moderately against. Right now, economically, I think it's more of an ebb than a flow as far as immigration goes. Thanks for correcting me.
I put moderately in favor.
Gotcha.
But yeah,
So
it's actually a
apologies.
big thing that countries have had trouble with in history, is too much immigration.
I
It'll
can't
actually
believe that.
dissolve
Like
your
where?
country. Huh?
Like where?
Where?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of
Um,
where there were big immigrations. I thought.
I'm not talking
Ukraine
about
or
recent
something.
history.
No. Yeah, I'm curious.
Sorry,
I actually
I'm-
don't remember the
I'm
countries.
I'm
Gotcha.
catching up on the chat real quick.
Yeah.
You guys are funny. Yes, of course. This is obviously unbiased.
Yeah, right.
Let's
Tough
see.
on crime
Tough on crime policies, i.e., where's that been? Policies that emphasize harsher and longer punishments for crime. In general, depends on the crime. There are some crimes that people are under,
Punishing.
under punished,
Oh, hello.
for, and other ones that some people are over punished for. Like policies that emphasize harsher and longer punishments for crime. Are we talking about like the war on drugs? Like, are we going to
minimum
yeah,
sentencing?
and probably
probably
capital punishment and
capital punishment. Yeah.
harsher than capital punishment?
what?
Harsher than, we already have
Harsher.
capital punishment, so it says emphasize harsher punishments for
Well,
crime. We're gonna like
mean, that would
kill
be-
you slowly.
No. I'm not. Like capital punishment as a means for, as a consequence for a wider variety of actions.
I put moderately against.
Come on, guys. Obviously, we're not gonna like hang a plaque on our wall with the answers to this test. It's
Or maybe we will.
it was this or Vox. They had one. You know what? Maybe we'll browse that one real quick at the end and see how different the one from Vox is. Did you know that Vox got $300 million from NBC?
No.
Their YouTube channel. Why is NBC giving them $300 million? And they still suck. Policies emphasize longer punishments for crime. I'm going to say moderately against. From the small amounts that I know, from the statistics of how the justice system, no, the
This
correctional,
question's a doozy.
the correctional system actually works. I'm not convinced that harsher punishments are actually going to do any better.
I think we should go a little quicker. There's 18 more questions.
I did not realize that. Next are 18 political questions. Scientific consensus. What?
We're probably gonna have to
think
sign up
they're
for
ahead
a
of
free
us.
trial or something to get our answer too.
Yeah, select the answers that best correspond to what you believe to be true. This is a how dumb are you quiz. All right. Have average global temperatures risen due to human activities?
It
Due
doesn't
to human
say
activities.
What percentage?
Yeah, I'm going to say yes. If you're just blanketing it, then sure.
Genetically modified.
Unsafe for humans due to being genetically modified. Nope. You know what? Never mind. People are going to ask the same question about DDT, and everybody's going to be like, no, DDT is bad. DDT is bad. We
Unsafe.
believe you on that one.
It's unsafe, but not in the way that you'd think it would be.
Whatever you feel, man. Go with your feels on this. We're not going for reels. I finished it as well. You guys went way too fast. All right, fine. No wonder. I was like, why? It's not that biased. And then I got here. I apologize. You guys know. All right, well, wait. As soon as we're done, let us know what you got. Advocates of the sustainable economic argument. Wow.
Yeah, if you're gonna read it,
Yeah.
read it.
I'm like, this is going to
It's
take.
worse if you stumble over.
This is going to take too long.
I can read it if you want.
No. It's reading it out loud is going to be tough. Everybody can see it on screen. Everybody's already finished the test, but us. You're
What we're
finished,
supposed
right?
to talk about.
Nope. No, I didn't finish.
You
You
jumped
told me to
ahead
slow
early.
down.
I did. How many percentage points did renewable energies share of U.S. grow from
1%.
2009 through 2013?
Percentage points. I think it was less than
Where's
1
the
percentage
I don't
point.
know answer?
Well, it's how you feel. Let's see how you feel about these
It's,
facts.
if you go up and to the right, there's an X.
Are they
in a
reporting this to
red.
somebody? Are they going to like be like, "Hey, give us your name and social for the answer to the go give that." Go take that man's children. He's an idiot. Advocates of American capitalism argue the global technology and economic progress is largely due to American ingenuity. To assess this claim, please indicate how many of the world's 8 biggest publicly owned technological companies were American in 2014. This is weird. This is a weird quiz. I didn't want to take it beforehand because I didn't want to know. I didn't want to like know all the answers or whatever. And, all right, I'm gonna say 5 out of 8, and the other 3 were from Israel. You know, Israel was the first country that Apple and Microsoft built research and development centers outside of the U.S. Yeah, weird, huh? Tell us what you think about that, Constantine. Answer the question to the best of your knowledge. What follows is an explanation people have given for why the economy isn't doing as well as it could. Rate whether you think this explanation is a major reason the economy is not doing better than it is, a minor reason, or not a reason at all. Foreign aid spending is too high. Well, foreign aid spending is too high. I'm not sure how much it affects the economy. I'm going to say a minor reason. U.S. has lower gas. Let's see. U.S. has, this is a perfect episode to do our first broadcast on Facebook. Be scrolling down, watching me answer these questions very poorly. Less strict environmental regulations in the European Union. Some argue that this could lead to higher emissions of carbon dioxide. How high are American emissions of carbon dioxide per capita compared to European emissions? What did you answer?
More than twice.
I'm sure it's high. European? How much more is it than China? Can radioactive waste...
Probably a lot higher.
We're higher
Because
than...
there's so many There's so many more people. They just split it up per
There's
capita.
a lot more
you know?
capos there.
Yeah.
Can radioactive... means heads. Can radioactive waste from nuclear power be safely contained for decades? Yes, right?
Safely.
You know that, right?
It depends on what you consider safely.
It can be. It can be. Is it? That's a different question, but it can be.
Can it?
It can be.
Is it possible?
It's possible. How much does the U.S. spend on foreign aid as a share of GDP? Wow, this is like very specific questions. I'm going to start answering C on all of these.
Well, we complained about the really broad questions. Now they're giving us really specific questions.
No, it's like, how do you feel about gun control or something like that? Not how much percentage of GDP is this thing? Like, it's different than how you feel.
I know. Okay, I got 0 out of 2 crime questions answers. 0 out of 2 crime. Oh, where'd it go? It disappeared. Hello. Oh, drat.
This is studies show organic farming, environmental impact. You guys went too fast. This is taking me way longer than it took you. I don't know how long. I don't know how you did it so quickly. Higher yield than conventional farming. Same yield as conventional farming. Lower yield than conventional farming. I'm answering C on this one.
All right. My political bias is 52.7. You'll know once you finish.
Okay, cool. The World Giving Index is based on the proportion of the population who has donated money to a charity, volunteered time to a charity, helped a stranger in need during the last month. How is the U.S. ranked in the World Giving Index compared to the European welfare states? It depends on if they're ranking this as welfare givings counting
voluntary
as
charity or involuntary
Yeah.
in charity.
Portion of the population who has donated money to charity. Donated is not the same as a welfare state. So I was going to say the U.S. ranks better than worse than no. I don't know about all. I would say most, but we give a lot. We give a lot more than most other countries do. The average U.S. citizen would be better off if a larger number of highly educated foreign workers were legally allowed to immigrate to the U.S. each year.
A larger.
How do you feel about it? Do you feel better off that there's more competition for your wages? Okay.
Well, not for mine. I'm not highly educated. I'm just gonna say we don't know because I don't know. I'm sure you don't because you wrote this quiz with questions you knew the answer to. You suck. Income differences are higher in the U.S. than in countries like Sweden and Denmark because it goes like that. There is, however, another measure of equality, namely social mobility. The likelihood that children end up in a different income groups than their parents. We're talking about downward mobility? Maybe?
Okay, sorry. Yep. Go back to number 12.
Okay. Are you, he's looking ahead. He's got
I'm
the
looking
answers.
at the answers. Yeah, number 12, the answers is true. according to consensus among economists. Sorry, I just had to say that.
97
agreement
97%.
is not science. That's all. That's all I wanted to point out.
Yeah, don't we vote
Like,
on facts?
it is true.
We're a
because-
democracy. We vote on scientific facts.
There you go. Like, I'm so glad they finally fixed that. They overturned that vote, the flat Earth vote. You
I know. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
a shame. If those flat earthers have more kids in a generation, the Earth's going to be flat again because we're going to decree it to be. The average U.S. citizen would be better off a large number of highly educated. I already answered this. Why'd you say go back? Income differences are higher in the U.S. than countries like Sweden, less social mobility. How does the U.S. compare with Sweden and Denmark according to that
Think
measure?
of all the answers that will paint the United States in a negative light, and that's what this website thinks is the
It's funny
truth.
because I didn't. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to answer all of these as opposite as I think they want me to. I'm going to
Wait, halfway
this
through the
one.
test.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, how does it compare with Sweden and Denmark
That'll
according to the
show
measure?
them.
You just told me what all the answers are.
One I gave
whatever
you
I
one
think,
answer.
whatever I think is
Yeah,
correct.
my bad. My
it's
bad.
Not
My
that.
bad. I'm sorry.
Now
I'm
I'm all
sorry.
confused.
My bad. My bad. My bad.
Is there anything in the chat, or is everybody just riveted by me mumbling these answers and giving my opinions? My opinions on facts. I'm so unhappy with how
Did you get to
this test
15?
is going. I think so. No, I'm at 13. So more mobile social mobility. I'm just going to say it has less. Thanks. You ruined this for me. You ruined it.
My
Taxes
bad.
are much
Sorry,
lower.
my bad.
Tell me, how
My
does the
bad.
ring end? Lower in the U.S. than
They throw
average US.
Isildur in Mount Doom.
If lower taxes meant more wealth, you would therefore expect the U.S. to be richer, right? Right? Do you think it is? People are silly. The U.S. is richer than nearly all, richer than most EU countries. Let me guess, about as rich as the average. Does the death
Oh, I
penalty
forgot the
decrease
answer to this.
homicide rates? Wait.
As evidenced by, according to science. I mean, there's three answers that are all
How come there is no not as rich as any? Why is that?
because
not an
it's
answer?
well known. It's well known that the American economy
Sure.
is bigger than the European Union's economy.
Does the death penalty decrease homicide rates according to studies? Doesn't matter. That's not why we kill people for murder. Is that why we kill people for murder? To dissuade others from killing?
Could be.
No, or we'd torture them. If we wanted to dissuade people, we would torture them and go like, "This is what you get."
It's against the law to do that.
Yeah, but you can impose
I
different
know,
levels of cost.
I know. We are not trying. I'm saying the death penalty is not trying to dissuade people from killing people. You're not about to kill someone and go, you know what, though? They're probably going to kill me for this. You know what? Life in prison's worth it. And then shoot somebody. No, we kill them because, well, they took a life. Their life is forfeit. Am I wrong?
I think it's supposed to be a deterrent.
No,
I think it's supposed to
I
be.
mean,
a
it may
deterrent.
not have worked very well in history, but
really.
What if instead of inventing the seatbelt, we required that a knife be strapped to everybody's steering wheel? Would people drive safer? I think like there are different costs you can impose on people. You can say you can be charged with manslaughter if you hit a pedestrian, or you can have the knife go through your heart. You know,
Yeah, but I think
there's different levels of cost. That's all. So I think
Yeah,
it's
but I
partially
don't-
a deterrent.
partially a deterrent, maybe. But I think my opinion always was, and I never even thought about this,
Oh, you're
was that we
saying
kill people
punishment-
because they're not
you're
of
saying the
use to
punishment
society.
fits
They're
the
a
crime.
danger to society.
punishment. fits
That's
the
why
crime.
they're put in facilities, right? That's what I always thought. I might be wrong, so I'm going to say no,
Interesting. Well, how do you
and it doesn't matter.
feel about it?
I'm going to
Tell
say
me more
no,
about your
and it doesn't matter.
feelings.
We get rid of them because we don't want them
What are
anymore.
we looking at here?
Does permitting adults without criminal records or histories of mental illness to carry concealed handguns increase or decrease violent crime? I was listening to statistics on this, and man, they can cherry pick some. I'm just going to say you don't know as of yet. You might think you do, but you don't. I'm talking about the test maker. When I look at the camera and point, I'm talking about the man who made the test. How many people want to move to the U.S. compared to other countries, according to surveys?
Interesting.
Now, I know what answer they're digging for, but I don't know how they came to that conclusion.
You have two
'Cause
more
if-
questions. Just a
Because if
reminder.
people way out in the Middle East are like, we're gonna go all the way to the U.S. Like, Europe's right there.
That's about as
China's
far
right
away
there.
as. Yeah, I mean, what's on the opposite side of the United States? It's not China, is it?
It's not.
I thought it
no.
was like the Middle East. About
roughly. If you're going,
fold this in half.
Yeah, I have a world map.
He has a world
Down
map
here.
mouse pad. It's pretty dope, actually.
It is pretty dope. It's actually a desk pad. It's wide. It's wider than my mouse and my keyboard combined,
I'd use it
and
as an
both my
elbow
controllers.
pad.
U.S. top destination. I'm gonna say it's not by much because the way they're phrasing these, this is like reminiscent of my tests in school where they're like trying to trick you into giving the wrong answer. Extended unemployment insurance benefits correlates with increase in unemployment in the U.S. That's true. And only because once you're off unemployment benefits, even if you still don't have a job, you're not counted in the unemployment numbers.
I don't know how to spell that word.
Because, so if you increase the term of benefits, people are unemployed on the books for longer. Because once they go off benefits, even if they don't have a job, they are no longer on the unemployed numbers.
It depends.
Because
There's U1, U2, U3, U4, U5, U6. There's different levels
Me?
of unemployment. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, like you can be out of the labor, like how much of the labor force, how much of possible able-bodied people looking for work are employed.
Well, if you're making this kind of a test, you're digging for the numbers you want. So, would you like to hear about our new tools as soon as they launch? No. No problem. On the next screens, we'll show you results, including the correct answers and your bias score. How about education score? Maybe I just wasn't taught this.
Ooh, you need to go to your closest recorrection
maybe not
camp.
knowing. Yeah, maybe not knowing. I think it's called reprogramming. Maybe not knowing statistics about exactly how much of our GDP goes to foreign aid has nothing to do with bias. Maybe I'm just uneducated. Would you like to have your report emailed to you? Nah, I'm good. I don't care that much. I'm just gonna. I have a record of it here with all these people watching. Yes, email me report. No, I'll pass. All right. Let's check out my results. Your results, part 1. Your political knowledge. In total, you correctly answered 8 out of 18, 44.44%. How much did you get?
52%.
Yeah, trippy. Of the political, I appreciate you giving me the hints because I probably got more correct because of that.
Well, you say correct.
Well, you know, it'd be fun to go through this test and correct all of their bad math and incorrect things with actual real science, and then give them a score. You got 17 out of 18 questions incorrect. Political knowledge questions, 80% of the people correctly answered between 5 and 11 questions. Ooh, so I'm right in the middle of stupid. 8 is the average. Your score is higher than 55% of test takers. So more than half the people are dumber than me. Good. Percentage of political knowledge. It's going correctly. You're correct. Average. Boom. Oh, thanks for a bar. In case I can't read these numbers, here's a little graph to show me. Below you can see how... Sorry. Percentage accurate across all 4 political domains. Immigration. I am completely inaccurate, apparently. Look at this. Look how accurate I am on immigration.
I was 100% accurate on
Of course you were. Crime, economy, environment.
Wait, how's
1
your-
out of
what's
2
your-
crime questions.
What's your crime look like?
What does my crime look
No,
like?
I mean your.
What's my crime?
Your browser is
about
blocking
50.
the bar on.
It's about 50. Oh, so you can't see it. I apologize.
Oh, okay. Yeah, mine on crime was 0. So.
Yeah, wow. Economy? How'd you do? We're comparing now.
Economy.
Like 40. I got like 50.
Wait.
4 out of
Accuracy on environment was higher than this. Oh, okay, all right. I thought that was one I was going to do bad on. Sorry. Your immigration looks like my crime, and my crime looks like your immigration.
Well,
like,
this
your
is.
immigration. It should be a crime.
Woo!
Do the answers depend on on like the first several questions? Like, do the answers that are correct depend on the first things that you pick?
Correct? No, I think that just has to do with bias. Either, or is it like you got your first question wrong? You are not conservative.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
think
what
so.
I'm-
Do you
that
guys
is not
feel
the
enlightened as
conservative
to-
view. Huh?
I feel enlightened as to well, you see, I thought I was going to get more of the environment ones wrong. 'Cause the bias, the obvious bias of this unbiased test to test your bias. I thought for sure I was going to get more of them wrong. But immigration, apparently, I'm not 0 out of 2, 4 out of 6, 3 out of 8. I want to know. I just want to know the. I don't care about all the rest of these. Taxes, death penalty. Correct answer. We don't know as of yet. As evidenced by a study from the National Research Council. Yeah, but I feel the answer is no. So, that's a correct. Determining it also criminal right history. We don't know as of yet. Okay. So why are they asking questions to which we do not know the answer?
Because some people.
That made more
feel
sense
like
than I
they
thought it
know
would.
the
Be
answer.
quiet. Gotcha. Wow. Okay.
As Beggar said, this should be the political incorrectness quiz.
Yeah. This is something else. Like I said, they're gonna take your email. Excuse me. They're gonna take your email and they're gonna report you to somebody and be like, this guy, he should not have a YouTube channel. For
Hey,
serious.
so what was your political bias?
Did I not get to that one? I thought I had. Oh, I see more of my results. Bias scores. On a scale of 1 to 100, your total political bias was 33.33%.
Hey,
Your score
that's what I
suggests that
got.
you are less biased than about 65% of other test takers. 50% of people get a score between 0 and 63. The average score is 47.14. Let us know in the chat. They probably already did. Sorry, I haven't been looking.
They did.
Haven't been looking at the chat. You guys gotta let me know when there's informative things in the chat, because that test was so riveting. You didn't want to pull me away from it. I'm looking back at the chat real quick just to get these numbers. Amor Pizza political bias 47.14. Hey, you're at the average. Bigger Heroes 666. I feel so satanic.
I did not even realize what he meant by that. I thought he just meant I'm very biased, like Satan.
You've got a satanic bias.
Didn't realize
You don't
that.
lean left or right. You're like down, straight down to him. My political bias was 33. But hey, we're on the same page. Probably in different directions. Do you think it's in different directions? Your political bias is 33% one way.
Yeah, probably.
That's funny.
I'm not sure what I think about this test, man.
It should be your political incorrectness quiz. Like I said, I hadn't taken this yet. I didn't know what it was about. Constantine, you should send me the one. I saw you do one a while ago, and it seemed much better than this. But I thought this one was going to be good. You should send me that one, and I can do that on my own time, because now I'm curious. Let's see. Your score, average score, boom, boom, boom. Yes, yes, yes. I don't care. You got all these questions wrong. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. I don't want to know. I don't want to know how wrong I am. Cool. So, I'm going to ask the chat. Now they've probably already given all these answers. We call it how mainstream scientific consensus are you? Yes. It should be your political correctness
Hey,
quiz.
I have a question for
Go
for
for
the
it.
audience. What kind of questions would you ask your friends, or people maybe not? Well, I mean, your friends you're like already closer with, but what kind of questions do you in your personal life kind of use as like a litmus test for people to judge where they stand in politics? Like, what's pretty important to you? What kind of questions do you ask people to get really a good initial feel for somebody's, how well they would fit with you politically? I'm curious.
I
like asking about, like, one of my favorite examples is Mexico's constitution, right? So Mexico's constitution has a clause stating that you can't change the demographics of Mexico unless you like change that clause in the amendment. You change that clause
So
in the constitution.
We are
like,
decided Latino country. We are decidedly
we are decidedly
Latino.
Mexico.
Unless
Mexico.
somebody somehow all the Mexicans vote. You know what? We don't want to be the majority.
Well,
anymore.
no, that's precisely, yeah. So, like, if a whole bunch of, Venezuelans in the crapper right now, if a whole bunch of Venezuelans tried to move to Mexico, but by the way, it does seem like they're trying to move through Mexico to the United States. Hang on, give me a sec. If a whole bunch of Venezuelans were to just, like, swarm the borders over into Mexico, that'd be against their constitution. So I just ask people's opinions on this to try to get a kind of a grasp of their opinions for immigration. I'm like, oh, well, and Japan, right?
Like,
you can't
what do you think of that?
What's up? Yeah.
Like, your question is, what do you think of
What
this?
do you think of that?
Or did you know? Because I certainly, sure as heck didn't know. Wait, are they talking about like citizens of, or are they talking about like racial demographics?
What do you mean?
Because like Venezuelans, it's like Canadians and Americans. We don't want all those darn Canadians in here. Like the demographics, if a bunch of Canadians came to the
If
U.S.,
people born
the
there,
demographics.
it's like native
I
born
don't. Do we
Mexicans.
even like take numbers of the demographics of Canadians versus Americans in the U.S.? Like Montana,
I'm not sure.
Montana is 38% Canadian. Like that, I don't think that's how it's measured. So Venezuelans in Mexico, I don't even think would be part of that clause, would it? Or are they talking about like if the Chinese wanted to come over and be like, "This is China now"?
I don't see why that's so far removed. Like Venezuela and Mexico are different countries.
Because when you talk demographics, typically you're referring to racial demographics, right? Here in the U.S., we don't go San Francisco is this much Venezuelan and this much Mexican and this much Puerto Rican. We say this, it is this much Latino or white, non-Hispanic. However
Well,
they
I'm sure-
divide them these days.
I'm sure the differences are much more appreciated in those countries, right? I mean, like, how much do people in Germany appreciate being mixed up with, Belgians, which are right next door, but they're like, you guys have similarities because you live near each other and you look the same. But I'm sure they're very well aware of their differences, right? So maybe Venezuelans eat different kinds of tortillas.
They do.
I'm sure they do.
In
My point is that like the native-bornness of it.
Yeah, but it's strange because I
like
don't
bigger
normally
heroes.
think. Yeah, I don't normally think of that when you say demographics. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just not what I normally think of. Tortillas, because this is important to your point. Tortillas in El Salvador are shaped like pancakes, and they're nowhere near as good as tortillas here. They're like half-inch thick and like that big around. Very strange. Yep,
cool.
they're good, but they're strange. They're not as good. You can't make anything out of them. They're for like scooping and eating. Like a giant, thick tortilla chip. A soggy tortilla chip. Yeah, Eckert says, I don't really litmus test anyone. It's more of, you talk about life, and it becomes clear quite quickly whether they are thinkers or just parrots of others' opinions. True story. I usually would, like, if I was interested in someone's leanings, I would just bring up, like, buzzwords and see how their face reacts.
Oh, I have the buzzwords right here. Can I say them?
Like, no, pick a couple. I would usually go with, like, cultural appropriation. Like that. I was actually talking to a couple of ladies at a show I was doing, and they brought up, they were like, "Hey, you guys did that Pitbull song. I really like it." And I was like, "Yeah, it's funny. We actually do Pitbull pretty well." And I was like, "We should just do a Pitbull tribute band." And they went, "No, that would be cultural appropriation. That would be wrong." And like they were very serious, like, "Shh, don't even say that." And I was like, "Well, we can do a couple songs." They're like, "Yeah, that's okay. As long as you mix it up, it's not cultural appropriation." But you can't do Pitbull tribute band unless you are Latino. So, yeah, people like that, I'm just like, I get you. I've now put you in a box.
Beggar.
But no, it's easier to, on social issues, for me to see where someone's coming from.
Beggar Hero responded to your litmus test question. He asked them how much they want the government to tax them.
Right. Yeah.
Mm.
I like that. I like that question. It's a good one.
He
That is a good
also
question.
put a buzzword: white privilege.
Are we
Interesting.
Sure
Is
are we assuming this
one
is
of
their
these
government?
buzzwords the word of the day?
You know what's interesting is, yeah, pick one of those buzzwords as word of the day. Oh,
Terrible
no.
jumpers.
Oh, I'm not sharing the screen, am I? I wanted to bring this up. I saw this today. Speaking of feels over reels, this is a poll. It came out, which I think is interestingly telling. Go full. All right. Back to here. Boom. No!
Registration.
Stop it!
White people face discrimination. The
What?
number is at 55%.
What is
the
it?
poll was released Tuesday
Restart
by
it.
the Robert Wood Foundation and the Harvard School of Public Health.
What is this?
NPR
Hold
spoke
on.
to one of the respondents in the
White
poll.
people think they're discriminated against, according to a poll.
Who?
A new poll finds that a majority of white Americans believe white people face discrimination. The number is
Where
at
does the majority
55%.
live?
The poll was released Tuesday by the
I don't
Robert
feel
Wood
discriminated
Foundation
against.
and the Harvard School of Public Health. NPR spoke to one of the respondents in the poll, 68-year-old Ohio resident Tim Hirschman, who said, quote, "If you apply
Ohio.
for a job, they seem to give the blacks the first crack at it. If you want any help
Crack
from the
at it?
government, if you're white, you don't get it. If you're black, you get it." He was then asked about discrimination against him personally, and he couldn't give NPR an example. Now, that's true of a lot of the respondents. Most of them say they've never personally experienced discrimination. When it comes to African Americans, 92% say discrimination against them exists in America, with more than half saying they've
fake.
personally experienced
Hey,
it when they
interact.
apply for jobs. When it comes to President Trump supporters, a HuffPost survey from 2016 said 45% of Trump voters
This little
said
turtle man
white
right there.
people face a
Makes
lot of
me laugh.
discrimination, while 22% of those voters said the same exists among black Americans.
Interesting. Don't start. the
Cops
next
in
meeting.
California got
Wow, cops in California. It's interesting because this was a poll they did, and they're like, how discriminated against do you feel? Do you feel like you're discriminated against, or do you not? And they're like, well, he couldn't give a specific answer, so apparently he just feels he was discriminated against, which is interesting. It speaks, I think it speaks less to individuals, and more about just cultural influence. It seems like there are a lot, there's people saying just like, you're a victim, you should feel bad, you should feel victimized. And then they say, do you feel victimized? They're like, yeah, I feel victimized. When these numbers are only indicative of people's opinions, which is weird because they compare it to minority groups who say they feel discriminated against. How accurate do you think those are? Because I mean, like when they say
100% accurate.
when they say 55% of whites surveyed believe that discrimination against white people exists in the U.S. today. That's just, you hear that and your first thought is like,
How do I feel?
That's
it
wrong.
Feels non-representative.
yeah,
That's
it
what-
feels wrong. It feels non-representative. What about when 92% of African Americans say they feel discriminated against? Do you think that's overblowing it?
No, I don't.
Why?
Because that's a big problem in this country.
Yeah, but you don't think more people than are discriminated against feel discriminated against?
Not if you have dark skin. I don't think so.
Well, okay. Let me see how it's phrased. I might be thinking of the question wrong. They were asked about their own personal experiences with discrimination. Surveyed say that they believe that discrimination against African Americans exists in America today. So, okay, that's a very broad question. So that makes sense. Well,
This being discriminated against is hard to know in the moment. Like it's when you look back on something and see like a big sample.
okay. So, interestingly enough, like I said, I just looking at the phrasing of this, 55% of white surveyed believe that discrimination against white people exists in the U.S. today.
So they're not asking, do you
not-
feel discriminated against?
Well, not even like, well, do you feel it exists in the U.S. at all?
right, but
They're not even
it
saying, like,
existing and me
How many
being-
people? Yeah, I was thinking initially that it was 55% of white people are discriminated against, but it's that many people think that it does happen at some point to some people. Interesting. Do you think that there's discrimination against white people somewhere in this country today?
Yes.
Probably. But I mean,
But it's not a problem, right?
So I mean, would you have
It's not
answered?
something we
Would you have
put
answered yes
resources
if polled?
so you're saying the poll question?
Yeah, the poll question is: do you
phrased
think
correctly.
there is discrimination against some white people
Oh,
in the U.S. today? Not systemic, just are they discriminated against at some point? Because I mean, like, it's tricky. At that point, the question gets tricky. But initially, on the face of it, 55% of white people think they're discriminated
I
against.
hate terribly designed polls.
I know. I think it's interesting.
Every
Really
poll ought
interesting.
to end with the question, what have you thought of these questions?
How accurate
Biased,
do you feel this?
unbiased,
Yeah.
pretty biased, or dinner later?
Which is
the
interesting
hot
because
ones.
then that means there's 10% of 90% of people who 92% was African Americans surveyed saying they believe that discrimination against African Americans exists in America today. There was 8% that went nope, no discrimination anywhere. Interesting. Maybe they misunderstood. I wonder how many people misunderstood these questions for the way they were posed. Weird.
It is thought provoking.
It is. It is thought provoking. That's why I brought it up. I saw this in just the way it was phrased. Got my wheel spinning. But I think this is interesting. Yeah. Thanks for bringing up the topic, Beggar Hero, with the white privilege buzzword.
Whatever happened to that Netflix show, Dear White People?
It got
How'd that
canceled.
turn out? Oh, it got canceled. That's weird. Why did it get canceled?
It was based on a movie from 2014. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah. Weird, huh?
Did the movie get canceled?
It was semi satirical in that it portrayed African Americans in a very like stereotypical way. Like, yeah.
But there are no
that's a good way to get
applicable
canceled.
stereotypes to black
What's that?
people.
I mean, like, it was obvious. It was also like all the characters were like deeply racist on both sides. It was just a horrible idea. It is also filled with knowledge gaps. You don't know why you were hired. Just because you're a minority doesn't mean that it's the reason you weren't hired. Yep. There's a lot more kill white people. Yeah. Oh, I used to work for a property management company, and we would rent slots slots at a trailer park to people, and people would come in with like criminal histories, which you're not technically allowed to discriminate against somebody who has a criminal history if they're coming in to apply for a place to live. But then they would lie on their application. Have you ever been evicted? No. And then we'd run a background check, and they had been. And we'd be like, yeah, sorry, you can't live here. And they're just like, you're discrimination. I'm going to sue you because you only didn't put me in here because I'm a sex offender. And it's like, you're an idiot, and you lied on your application. So it has nothing to do with it. We appreciate that because now you don't get to live here, but it's not discrimination. So yeah, that's a good question. Maybe people think like, I didn't get the job because I'm white, right? And you want to give it to a black person? Oh, it's like, no, you were really awkward in your interview. I don't want to work with you. All right, we're out of time for this week. I appreciate you guys suffering through that quiz. Wow, that was something else.
At least it provoked discussion.
It did. I knew that it was at least going to be interesting. I just thought it was going to be more informative as well. So, glancing over. Oh, hey. Yeah, we've got a couple comments on Facebook. You people on Facebook, I'll read your comments afterward. Next week we'll have the chat pulled up for that, but I'm not worried about it right now. Well, that will be word of the daytime. Yes, I almost split without doing it. Apologize.
It was already up there, so I've only heard it like apodictically true, but the word is apodictic, meaning clearly established or beyond dispute.
Pardon me.
Incontrovertible. So I guess apodictic could describe, I didn't know it could describe a person, but I've always heard it used in the phrase like, that's not necessarily apodictically true, or it's apodictically true. But I guess like an argument could be apodictic, or like the sun rises in the east is an apodictic fact. So just with the discussion of all our biases and, you know, the scientific consensus, the agreement between a group of people determining the truth of something, this comes at it from a different angle, as in the truth of the thing is apodictic, but it can be discovered through groups of people, you know, finding what works and what doesn't.
I think that's a weird example there. Don't be so apodictic. You haven't considered several facets of the question. Don't be so incontrovertible.
No, well, that's for the second one. It says the style of argument in which a person presents their reasoning as categorically true. So it's when they present facts as
like
if like
all black people.
When you say everybody knows is
yeah,
a good
right.
example.
White people are never discriminated against. Oh, poor white people.
Well, basically just any hyperbole. So anyone who uses hyperbole a lot in conversation ought to take another look at their apodictic nature in conversation, because it can, you know, cause obstacles to communication, which we try to break down on this show.
Would you say everyone who uses hyperbole is wrong?
I would say without a doubt, there is no question, everyone who uses hyperbole needs to, you know, get their hyperbole checked out.
All right. And on that note, we will end the show. Thanks so much for joining us. Thank you guys who commented on Facebook. I'm just going to assume that they were nice comments. Not going to read them yet. I will feel bad later. There we go. We are here every Thursday night, as you can see on the bottom of the screen. Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern. Thanks so much. Next week, we're going to be tackling a specific topic different to the one tonight. But after last week's, like I said, very spirited debate, I wanted to do something a little more interesting and less like that very last topic we did today. So thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for your participation in the chat. If you're watching this after the fact, when it's archived, do comment below as you're watching it. That way we can get your feedback as well, and we will address it on the show the next week. Do subscribe, click the little bell icon, and share these links. Share them with your friends. We've got comments lately saying, why do you guys not have more views? Well, just spread the word. We will see you guys next week.